Welcome back to the show, everybody. Back here at the dining room at the Ritz-Carlton. We've got an exclusive for our viewers today. We're going to show you how to make the recipe that the chefs here are having for lunch. It's a roasted lamb with a potato artichoke terrine. Chef Sarah Stegner showed me recently how to make it. Well, Sarah Stegner, there must be just a little bit of pressure for you cooking lunch for 30 of your colleagues in Chicago.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
So how do you come up with a dish to impress them?
Well, I picked rack of lamb, which I hope everybody will like. And it's something that I've done before on the menu, so I'm confident with.
And it's also served with a terrine?
Yeah, it's with an artichoke, potato, and goat cheese terrine.
Wow.
And it has a little herb salad that has cannonball goat cheese with it.
Great. Well, it starts with the lamb, of course, right?
Yeah. It's rack of lamb, and then it has rosemary and thyme and Italian parsley.
And, of course, fresh herbs, always.
Always fresh herbs that we've chopped up.
Can you get the rack of lamb trimmed like this at the butcher shop?
I think you need to ask them to do it. We took the fat cap off.
Okay. A little olive oil?
A good olive oil over the top of it. And I wait to season it till just before you cook it.
So this marinates, what, overnight?
Marinates overnight, 24 hours, yeah.
So after 24 hours, now first what you did was put the tin foil on the bones. Why'd you do that?
Right, just so they don't burn.
Okay. And you're just going to do them on a hot grill?
It's not too hot. It's a medium heat grill.
Okay.
I don't want the herbs to burn, so first I grill it, and then I'm going to slow roast it in the oven. I'm just giving it a bit of a smoky flavor to it.
So you're just going to kind of caramelize the outside, and then you're going to put them in the oven?
Right.
Now the terrine begins with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, these are local potatoes that are red potatoes. We scrubbed them really well, boiled them, and you start in cold salted water and bring it to a boil until they're tender. And then I add 4 tablespoons of butter.
Helps to have a food mill.
Yes, you need a food mill, absolutely.
Or a potato ricer, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to add a half a cup of cream that I have reduced. Cut the stem off, trim the leaves back a little bit.
The leaves are real tough.
Yeah.
And the best part is really the bottom part, right?
Right, this is the heart of the artichoke, and that's what you want to eat. And then you just get careful of the spikes there. Take the knife and trim it around.
Okay, and when you're done trimming, you get this, right?
Yep, absolutely. Cut that off.
And you're keeping them in acidulated water with lemons because you don't want them to turn color?
I don't want them to turn color.
Okay.
And then you're going to scrape out the center of it.
Oh, is that the choke?
Yeah, that's the choke.
Okay.
That's the fun part.
It's kind of hairy.
Make sure you have a comb to do that part, okay?
Okay. And then once you've gotten that out of it, then you're going to saute these.
Yes.
Okay.
And what I did is, this is how they look once they've been cooked. I sauteed them in quite a bit of olive oil.
Okay.
And kind of seared them without letting them color, just so that the whole outside gets really hot. Okay. And then I added tomato and about a half a cup of white wine and a couple of sprigs of thyme and some sea salt. I do want them clean.
Okay.
And I'm going to put some goat cheese in the center. And this is goat cheese from Capriole Farm.
Right, and Capriole Farm, actually, we visited a few months ago.
We were very lucky.
We met the owners and we found out how they make this goat cheese. So why don't we see where this goat cheese comes from and how it's made. By 5:30 in the morning, Larry Shad is already hooking up the milkers. He's got about 170 goats to milk, part of the job he and wife Judy carved out for themselves more than 10 years ago.
Well, I think that the goat milk, if you taste it without just the fluid milk, there's a flavor in there that lends itself really well to those little acidic curd cheeses that you find in France.
The Shads have succeeded in part from taking an old world approach to cheese making. It's called farmsteading, which means they produce both the milk and the cheese. Shad says only a handful of farmers produce the milk these days. One of the keys to making sure the milk is good is treating the animals with respect.
They're bedded the old way on straw, which is of course a lot more work to clean up, but they're much more comfortable. They're not crowded. They have the woods to browse in. They have 3 or 4 different kinds of hay to eat.
The curds are scooped into molds where the cheese is aged. Some cheese goes into the aging room, an above-ground cave really, where the humidity is at a constant 90% and the temperature always 55 degrees. Some cheese, like the fresh Chev, is aged a few days. Others, like the Old Kentucky Tome, is aged from 5 to 7 months.
What goes into the animal, what comes out of the animal, is all a part of what makes our cheese different from somebody else's.
And that goat cheese, by the way, is available here in Chicago at Whole Foods. Now, everybody at home is going to learn how to make something that Sarah probably took years to learn how to do this, but you're going to learn how to make this in a couple of minutes. This is a terrine, and you started by putting some plastic wrap on your surface.
Right.
And then thin slices of potato. How did you do this?
Really thin. You can use a mandolin. And then we greased the pan and steamed it.
Okay.
Okay?
You just turn this pan upside down.
Yeah, we just turned it upside down.
Okay, you steamed it, and you get these little thin sheets of potato, which you've laid down here, kind of overlapping a little bit.
Right, just a little.
And now you're putting the mashed potatoes on top of that.
Yeah, there's a puree of potatoes. And these are the artichokes. I have trimmed the edges so that it meets perfectly.
Oh, sure.
So
Look at that. This is going to be very elaborate.
And I've just pressed a little bit of the artichoke into the potato.
Okay, just so it holds.
Yeah, just so it holds.
Now, do you wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm gonna top it off
A little more mashed potato.
with a little more mashed potato.
Wow. See, everybody at home, you have to years of training for this kind of technique.
Well,
Sarah's good enough to share this with us.
you have to remember that I'm cooking for 30 chefs. So.
That's right. Yeah, no small feat. And they're expecting probably something, you know, knock their socks off.
I hope so.
I'm sure this will.
Okay. And then you just roll it up
Look at that. Wow.
and kind of push it back to keep
Almost
its
like
round
what sushi
shape.
chefs do with their bamboo, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's the same principle.
And you just roll this up, and I'm guessing you're going to chill this?
I'm gonna chill it. Yep.
So you sliced off a bit of the terrine, and
Yes.
you're just doing
I'm sauteing it and
some-
left the plastic on. It's in olive oil
You left the plastic on to hold it in shape?
to hold it in shape. Yeah, the potatoes are really creamy, so
Okay. And just a minute or two on each side?
yeah.
Now we're going to plate the dish, and you started by slicing up this cannonball goat cheese,
Yeah, I'm
aptly
gonna
named because it looks like a cannonball.
make a little goat cheese salad with it.
Okay. And what do you have here?
I have chervil, chives, little pieces of basil, and just a speck of mint.
This was in the oven for about a half an hour or so?
Yeah, about 30 minutes. So we slow roasted it.
So you wanted it about medium rare?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's perfect, Sarah.
Yeah.
Here comes the art of the presentation. Look at that. You've got some lamb sauce. So how did you make this?
It's the scraps from the lamb, the trimmings,
Mm-hmm.
with a mirepoix, which is vegetables, onions, shallots, garlic, tomatoes,
Okay.
and a little bit of demi-glace.
Ooh, great.
Okay.
This goes on top of
Yeah,
just the lamb?
a tiny bit. I'm gonna
Oh, it looks
give it a little.
beautiful. Sarah Stegner, thank you so much for showing us today.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to get a copy of that roasted lamb recipe that Sarah Stegner serves here at the Ritz, just call us at 630-368-CLTV, and we'll send a copy out to you. Well, many of the chefs told me that they love that entree, but now it's time to get ready for dessert. So why don't we go into the kitchen and see what the pastry chef En-Ming Hsu is working on. Charlie?
Steve, now I'm with En-Ming Hsu, one of the great pastry chefs of the country, who's putting together, I think, a very, very special dessert that will complement the rest of what's already been a great meal. Chef, what do we have now?
We have a hickory nut souffle glacé with candied hickory nuts and candied orange peels. I'm doing it with a clementine salad, fresh salad,
It looks
and
great.
poached quince.
You know, I love hickory nuts, and they're very, very rare. Now, where do you get your hickory nuts?
We get ours from Wisconsin. We work a lot with organic farmers through a co-op, and they provide us with very nice products. And in the wintertime, hickory nuts are one of their best
And
items.
you don't see those every day, and it adds a really nice, exotic, earthy touch to things, I think.
That's right. That's right. In everybody's backyard, but not too many people eat it.
Now, Chef, what's your philosophy with regards to desserts?
I like to keep things very simple
Uh-huh.
and keeping in mind fresh flavors
Yes.
of the products. And like now, it's very close to winter time. What we have are a lot of the winter products that you would find available.
It's very much in the season, and what I like
Yes.
is you've incorporated different textural elements as well. This really looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, Steve, let's take it back to you to the dining room.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Well, Well, stay with us, everybody, because coming up next on the show, we are going to take a look at a Cheap Eats in Hyde Park at Cedars of Lebanon. And then a little bit later in the show, Charlie Trotter and I wrap things up here from the dining room at the Ritz-Carlton. Don't go away.